So, here we are. Hi, I'm Kurb, and finally we reached the group I've been dying to do a lore deep dive. It's kind of crazy to think that we have investigated all of the Hololive English groups. Almost all of them. So let's jump right into it, starting with... Atlantis, known as the naval empire that ruled all over the western part of the world, but after a failed attempt to conquer ancient Athens, as kind of a divine punishment for conquering a lot of territories, floods and earthquakes filled the place, leading to the sinking into the Atlantic Ocean. The city has been gone for thousands of years now, and due to the high pressure, it's difficult to go there now. When visiting, you may experience a culture shock. Atlantis doesn't have as many laws as modern day nations, but the punishments are way more severe. For example, a person getting eaten by a megalodon. The food is bland, consisting of seaweed and fish. Moreover, Atlanteans don't normally wear clothes, and various underwater creatures live there, such as lobster people and crabs. Our story begins on June 20th, 2020. Gura, an Atlantean, was washed away to a nearby beach. As her traditions go, she was arrested for indecent exposure, and as she was running away from the cops, as you do, she ran into a shop where she came across her infamous shark outfit. After exploring this brand new world, she encountered her now iconic shark hair ties, when all of a sudden, she stumbled onto a Hololive audition paper, and the rest is history as we know it. Gura's age has always been blurred to her. She always said that she was about 9,000 years old, but it always varied.
Oh, that's a great question. I am 4,295 years old. Wait, no I'm not. I'm 9,495 years old.
With everything in mind and all her birthdays in Hololive, we can say her age is between 9,000 and 10,000. So she would fall into the category with Nerissa or Bibu, who are approximately the same age, kind of. Now, the reason for Iris to suddenly appear besides Gura, you could say that as the bringer of hope, she just knew that it would bring a lot of hope to the people. Possibly. Moreover, Gura also has another personality, her red appearance known as Gawr. In Gura's first song, Reflect, we can see here for the first time. We can interpret this song as the acceptance of oneself, as Gura is split in two, Gawr and Gura. Gawr being that part of her that's the bad, evil and murderous shark, and Gura who's just scared and hates her guts. The song concludes in the acceptance that Gawr and Gura are just a part of the whole that made her what she is today, and thanks her for staying even through the suffering. Gawr is nothing more than Gura's animalistic side that she probably had when living in Atlantis, because as the song says itself, the phoenix, the bird of immortality, resurrection, the defiance of death. In other countries, it's associated with the god of sun. Now imagine it's an anime girl that owns a fast food chain. Takanashi Kiara is a phoenix that has been reborn in a specific dimension. She has had many jobs: a shrine maiden, an idol, a race car driver, an air hostess, a personal trainer, and a warrior, but has met her end in several ways, like getting hit by a train. No, we're not doing this. Sorry about that. She was born in a time before humans lived on Earth, but due to her being a phoenix and all, she has been reborn every few centuries, meaning that she has been born relatively early, and in her quote-unquote travels in the afterlife, she has met Mori Calliope, the Grim Reaper's apprentice, several times, and it's thanks to her that when Kiara is reborn, it will be in the same dimension as she has mastered revival. Kiara is the owner of a fast food chain called KFP, Kiara Fried Phoenix. Her employees are chickens that vary in size. The business is weird. Instead of getting paid, you have to pay Kiara so you can keep working. But hey, you get some benefits, like German lessons and Kiara beating up whoever you want. However, if you misbehave, you tend to go to the usual room, where the floor is covered in Legos, there are jigsaws with missing pieces, TVs playing Kiara's MBs 24/7, and a pro KFP propaganda for re-education. But don't worry, it isn't a cult. Dumbass. I'm sorry, that was mean. I also want to mention her previous life as a warrior. You see, she had an alternate outfit where we see exactly what she meant. Time is a concept that is very prominent in the lore of Hololive English, and this outfit is no exception, because in her animation for the reveal, in an alternate universe happening at the same time as the universe we know Kiara from, we see Kiara as a warrior. Then she reads a letter, but before we get to know what happens next, sparks fly out of nowhere and takes her into the reality of KFP Kiara, where they can see each other but they cannot interact whatsoever. The animation ends with Warrior Kiara taking over in the actual universe. Prior to seeing Warrior Kiara, KFP Kiara was looking at what may be a shooting star with her characteristic colors of orange, blue, and green. Now, for the significance of this this video. At first, it was really vague for me, but after hearing her talk about it and reading people's interpretation like this user right here, I'm guessing the lore behind this is as follows in my head. Our Kiara, who wants adventure, got subbed with Ayu Kiara, who seems to be the head of an adventurers guild that seems tired of it, gets a mysterious letter that makes the switch. So now our Kiara gets her wish of a grand adventure. But what adventure awaits Ayu Kiara in our world? It's pretty simple and self-explanatory, to be honest, but this confirms once again that alternate universes and multiple realities of the same person exist, and not just Ame, everyone. Death, the unbreakable law of the universe. The reason for death's existence is unknown, why it goes for all living things.
That at the beginning of it all, souls screamed in agony as they drowned in the sea of souls, desperately clawing for the stairs that lead to what I imagine to be nothingness.
Some may find a way to avoid it. Maybe magic from ancient civilizations slows down death's visit, whispering to ancient gods, momentarily claiming death. Death doesn't have any limits though, and it will come, even to the point where even death will die. Mori Calliope, the Grim Reaper's apprentice, the Shinigami. Her job is basically to take the souls of the dead to the underworld/afterlife. Until one day she came by to take another soul, a little blonde girl claiming she was trying to make a time machine. She knew what was coming, but before it happened,
You can be my first store customer! Watch out!
after talking to Death Sensei, you know, the teacher to the apprentice, Callie was sent on a hiatus. As a suggestion, Death Sensei told her to take a trip to Japan, but then again she wasn't in the greatest place, economically speaking, so after working 2 jobs in the underworld, she saved enough to quit her job and buy the cheapest ticket. And here we are now, I guess. Funnily enough, she shares her name with one of the muses of Greek mythology. She is known for writing epic poetry, which is either a hilarious coincidence or a really smart name choice. Some may use her music videos as lore as well, like in Cinderella's NEZUMI Scheme MV, we see how Callie got into rap and saw the underworld where we could see holo members like Choco, Mel, Oli, Toa, demon versions of Myth, and even Bishoujo's own Iron Mouse. Sadly, this video was, and I say this in the most insecure tone ever, quote-unquote, retconned with her official lore video, which was referenced in the beginning. In NEZUMI Scheme, Death Sensei lets Callie go to Earth to fulfill her dreams of making music, but in that video, Death Sensei just lets her go because she needed a break. And speaking of that video, do you remember the girl she saved?
Is this seat taken?
Wait, you're...
I'm a time traveler. Look at this.
That's right, the reason why I'm here right now, as she's literally my first vtuber ever, so I have her lore close to my heart. Although I have to say it is utter insanity the amount of it I have to cover, which is really funny because the detective part is like 5% of it. Amelia H. Watson, born on January 6th in the 1920s, is a detective and possible doctor. She was known for always being creative but often a troublemaker. She was gifted and she used that to her advantage and created what she thought were time machines. But after a crime in the Watson family, she ran away and ended up in a graveyard where she stumbled upon a big statue with what she claims to be tentacles and was suddenly transported in time. We know that before becoming a detective, she got a time-traveling watch with a time crystal that was borrowed from a certain warden of time by an older Watson. We also know that time travel has its risks. It can cause headaches and it can cause an Ame's eyes to bleed due to the pressure caused by entering new dimensional time fabric. Time travel can affect the molecular structure of neurons and smooth brain tissue. Ame uses a device which electrocutes the brain to regenerate brain cells. Too much time travel is bad for the skin. And finally, when traveling through an interdimensional reality portal, there's a rare chance of being sucked into a wormhole. One funny little thing about her lore is that Ame was supposed to be the one that told Gura she would be in Hololive, which is what we see in her shark animation with Iris instead. But Gura isn't the only one affected by Ame's time travel shenanigans. Yago asked Ame to time travel to the 28th of December 2019 and shoot former member Kiryu Coco with a Watson concoction dart so she falls onto Hololive HQ and create Hololive English. Although she does time travel a whole lot, she hasn't really taken another person with her. Ame's body has been protected by nanobots to prevent timeline anomalous continental viruses. Those nanobots were created by other Ames from other timelines. Which, speaking of, we should talk about the big elephant in the room. Well, not big, actually kinda small. Small Ame. She is an Amelia from the small timeline where everyone is a tiny version of themselves. First showcased in Myth's first anniversary collab, Small Ame cannot survive in our timeline due to radiation and the sad reality of paying rent. She has a manifesto written in small Ame code and a memorial to the Ame Wars, which means there was a war amongst different Ames. Most Ames don't want to talk about it, and crazily enough, it isn't the only Ame War. We had Ame War 2. Crony versus Ame. You can imagine it as, how the wiki says it, 1 bear-sized duck versus 50 duck-sized bears. And there's a whole ass compilation of alternate Ames that is definitely outdated, but here are some notable Ames. Ame 1337, our timeline Ame. Ame 3148, the small Ame we know but only one out of many. Ame 69, a crazy Ame that started the numbering Ame system. Ame 1, just a normal Ame whose timeline got destroyed. Armando Watson, Ame's gender bent alternate. Buffson, pretty self-explanatory. Amelia Watson or Biame, again, pretty self-explanatory. And we are not done with alternate Ames. Watropolis is a thing. It's a city created and inhabited by Ames. It contains subways, planes, parks, even some haunted places too, as there may be a ghost Ame roaming these buildings built in the 1800s. They even have their own currency known as the Ame dollar, that converts to 1.19 USD. There's an Ame that handle all legal matters in Watropolis like passports, time ports, and weapons, and the location itself is in between timelines that can be accessed through the time travel watch. Fun fact, I don't think I'm done, but to be honest, Ame is already 1.5 pages long and I still need to talk about We've reached the final member and literally the reason why I made this series of lore analyzing videos as a whole. Please keep in mind that while we will talk about Ina, we will also talk about this fucker. But first, let's talk about our favorite purple lady. Ninomai Inanis, born the 20th of May, is a human whose family was blessed by the angels / Ao, so their purpose has always been to serve them as priests and priestesses. In the song Violet, we get to see her first encounter with the physical appearance of the Ancient Ones. As I was re-listening to this banger and also analyzing the MV, one thing did stick with me, and no, it wasn't all the secret little things like Bible verses, words with letters that sum to the hex code of Violet. No, I'm not kidding, but it's actually a coincidence. And all that. I mean something very subtle that could be either intentional or just an error. I'm talking about the subtitles. Nowadays, you can color subtitles to add more flair to them. VTubers have been doing that to both spice it up but also help with the lyrics when viewers wanna sing along. So if you take a look at the subtitles, there are certain points that the subtitles are full white while the rest are purple, and I thought it would be a mistake, but it appears constantly, almost like it's a conversation. So, what do we do with this information? One obvious aspect is that Ina is purple gay! But for the identity of the white, we can theorize two things. One, it's Ina's past friend that went missing right before Ina met the Ancient Ones. That friend we theorized was supposed to be graduated member Tsukumo-sana from Council due to their close friendship and also their link with the Ancient Ones. The lyrics reflect the longing to be together after being separated for so long and so suddenly. Or 2, it's Ina singing to past Ina. We could reflect that same longing as longing for the past, before getting blessed by the Ancient Ones. The waxing moon incites my wanderlust, almost like children that are dying to know more, and Ina may lament not being able to feel that again, but only when she remembers, she's happy. So, what happened? Well, the answer is literally there. Ina found Ao and just became besties or something. Ao is definitely inspired by Lovecraftian mythos, which makes it very likely that they are a type of Necronomicon with lore that could drive a person mad, and maybe Ina just took it like a champ. We know that when people learn about the forbidden knowledge inside the book, they immediately become disciples to the Ancient Ones, like Ina and Sana, and unlike some other dweeb, so right now Ina and the Ancient Ones are together as one. Kinda, with Ina worshipping Ao as the priestess she is. And you can tell by her appearance, those big scary tentacles are controlled by Ina thanks to Ao. Now Ina's in Hololive working as a VTuber with the rest. But we are not done, especially not with you, misters, mistresses, mix. I've dabbled in the past with identifying the secret of the identity of Ao. What I came up with was that Ao was nothing but the living manifestation of the gods that created everything, seen in the council teaser PV video. With Advent now in the mix, thanks to the fact that Shiori, as the archiver, can use her bookmark to look beyond reality and see things unbeknownst to humanity, she has seen the location to Nereus's horn broken off by the gods. And also with Justice too, they are used to godly powers such as Raura's god eyes. And knowing they have higher-ups, I believe that Justice is controlled by the gods in some way. And it doesn't help the fact that there are 4 people, just like there are 4 gods, but that's another story for another video. So, as Ao is based in a Necronomicon, what is it exactly? The Necronomicon was first written in Damascus by Mad Yemeni poet Abdul al-Hazred in the 8th century. Then after his mysterious death, it was adapted by the Greeks and just kept getting translated to other languages. The most characteristic things found in it are magic spells, incantations for summoning monsters and deities. What's interesting is that while the general consensus is that reading it may drive a person mad, many people have claimed that some of Lovecraft's characters have read parts of it and retained their sanity. But what normally makes them go mad is the fact that the book contains information about the universe, just like we theorized. And what backs this up is that when learning about the Necronomicon, most people go in with the fact that Al-Hazred was insane, so they could read excerpts of it and not go insane. But as the quote from Robert A.W. Lowndes says in The Abyss,
many have read excerpts from the Necronomicon, yet are reassured by the thought that Al-Hazred was mad. What if they were to discover that, far from being mad, Abdul al-Hazred was so terribly sane that others dubbed them mad simply because they could not bear the burden of the facts he uncovered?
Wow, okay, we got a bit off topic there. We were talking about anime girls and then we got into the Lovecraftian iceberg. So we can 100% confirm that the ancient gods in Council's PV have retained such information about the creation of the universe inside the ancient ones. Right? This would make people like Ina and Sana, and by proxy Shiori, the only ones in canon that have read bits of Ao and have retained their sanity in some way. Sana, as a literal concept of the universe, wouldn't be that weirded out, since they literally made her. Ina worships them and it's a family tradition, so I guess she's safe. But Shiori? The fact that this girl read it without any relation in any way to Ao and still remained sane? No wonder they went after her. She was indeed a very dangerous being. Yes, she has said several times that she doesn't know what she is exactly, but if she was related in any way to Ao, it would be stranger if she was the one to get captured and sent to the cell. Anyway, what have we learned today? That myth has a lot of lore but very interesting. I was really scared to make this video at first because even though they are the oldest EN gen, their lore may be lacking because they weren't 100% focused on it at debut like Promise, Advent or Justice. But no, they turned this script to 10 fucking pages, which was more than I thought it would be, honestly. Thank you all for watching. Ever since I started making these lore deep dives, I've been enjoying making such content, and now that I'm close to being in my 3rd year as a VTuber fan, wow, it just feels great to still be this unhealthily obsessed over virtual women who play games online and sing and dance. Happy late 4th anniversary holomyth, let's stay together for more years. Okay, it's your turn now.